Hello students, how are you? I hope you're fine wherever you are. Today we're going to be talking about subject and object questions. Well, before we talk more about this, I'm sure that you still remember what a subject is and what an object is in a sentence. In case you forgot about it, let me tell you then. A subject is a person or a thing that performs an action in a sentence, while an object is a person or a thing that receives an action. Now let's take a look at the subject questions. Well, why do we call it as a subject questions? Because we don't know the subject. I have got a sentence here. This is an example. Blank teaches this class. In the sentence, we don't know the subjects. And if you're not sure about the subjects, then let's try to find out whether it is a person, a thing, or something else. In this case, we are talking about teacher, right? And teacher is a person. So how to make a subject questions? That is really simple. All you need to do is just to write who, because we're asking about a person, right? So the questions will be who teaches this class. It's super simple, super easy for the subject questions. What about the object questions? Well, similar to subject questions, an object questions, we call it as an object questions because we don't know the object. For example, in the sentence, he ate something. We don't know what he ate. That is why we are going to, or we want to ask, or we were wondering about the thing that he ate. Well, for the object question is a little bit more complicated because as you can see here that we have a verb and the verb is in a past form. So we need to use or to put an auxiliary there. If you forgot about the auxiliary, you can check the previous lessons. We have talked about it before. Okay, now he ate something. So we are asking about a thing, right? It's not like in a subject questions, well, we are asking about a person. That's why we use who. But for this, since we are asking or we are wondering about a thing, so the questions word is not who anymore, but instead we use what. And since the verb is in a past form or in a past simple, so we need to put an auxiliary for this. So just to remember what the auxiliary for the past simple. Yes, it did. Yes. And then after the auxiliary, we put the subject of the sentence, which is he. And remember, since this is the question, so we should write it in the base form of the verb, or you may call it as verb 1. So what is the base form of ate? Yes, eat. Okay, so this is object questions. We are asking about the object, while for subject questions, we are asking about the subject of a sentence. Okay, let's take a look at the difference between the subject questions and the object questions. So the first difference is for the subject questions, we don't need to use auxiliary. So after the questions word like who or what or maybe some other question word, we just need to put the verb. And the verb depends on the tense, okay? In the sentence, for instance, since this is in a present simple, so we use teaches. We put or we add es at the end of the verb. It might be different when the tense is in past simple or in present perfect tense and so on. Okay, and then for the object questions, we need to put auxiliary. In this case, we use did because the sentence is in past simple. Okay? All right. Now, let's take a look at this sentence. I've got another sentence here. James dropped the glass. So what is the subject of this sentence? Who performs the action? Yes, James. James is the subject. And what is the action? So what is the verb? Excellent. Dropped. Dropped is the verb or the actions performed by James. And what is the object? Glass. Okay, the glass is the object. Okay. So can you make subject questions from this sentence? Just imagine that you don't know the person, you don't know the one who dropped the glass. So how can you make a subject questions then? Do we use what or who? Yes, we use who. And then, remember, after the questions word, we write the verb. Okay, so what is the verb of the sentence? Yes, drop. And we write the object, which is the glass. So the question will be who dropped the glass. Who dropped the glass? Based on this sentence, the answer is James. Okay, so James is the subject, and this is the answer of these subject questions. You got it? Now let's move on to the object questions. We still use the same sentence here, as we know that the glass is the object of the sentence. Now, how can you make an object questions from this sentence? What question word do we use? Do we use what or who? We are asking about the glass. The glass is not a person, right? The glass is a thing. All right, we use what? What, okay? And then after the question word, we need to put an auxiliary there. So what is the auxiliary? Let's take a look at the sentence again. This sentence is in past simple. Okay, just the same as in the example here. So what auxiliary do we use? Yes, we use did. What did? And then we write the subject. What is the subject? James. Okay. What did James? And the verb, remember? In a question, we need to change the verb into the base form. So we omit the ed. So it becomes, what did James drop? Okay. That's all. What did James drop? And based on the sentence, the answer is the glass. All right. It's very easy, isn't it? I'm sure that you can understand this topic easily. Okay, thank you very much for today. Stay safe and stay healthy. See you.